What is up, hooligans, and happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. Now, I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you're over on Rumble, please hit that like button. More likes equals more hooligans. KJP just staggered out on stage, so we're going to get started with the press briefing right now. Grab the URL and share out the link so everyone can hear from KJP, her lying and crying from the podium, as well as hearing everything we have on the schedule for Coffee with Hooligans.
The president believes that Secret Service should have every resource capability available to them, the protective measures available to them to do a mission that is indeed critical. And so we want to make sure, the president wants to make sure that they have the resource for that. And just to take a step back, in August, as part of our responsibility to plan for a possible short-term continuing resolution, OMB provided Congress with a list of budget needs to avoid disruptions to government services through the first quarter of the fiscal year. One of those requests submitted was for the Secret Service. It would ensure Secret Service had the ability to execute its, again, critical mission even during a continuing resolution, including its responsibilities related to the 2024 presidential campaign. Without that particular request in August, that anomaly, the Secret Service would have inefficient resources to sustain and enhance protective operations during the period of the CR. Separately from that, again, the Secret Service has been in touch with Congress. We believe there are many avenues to get that done, and so we're not going to get ahead of those conversations. But this is something since August that we've been talking about. The president has been always very clear. They need more resources. The Secret Service needs more resources. They need more capabilities. The mission that they are indeed doing is critical. To your question about the change of leadership, the president has confidence in the Secret Service leadership. He commends the Secret Service for their handling of the situation and ensuring that the former president was safe, his safety. The Secret Service has already announced a review into the incident, into what happened. And so, as we have said many times, the men and women at the Secret Service have a hard job, a tireless, thankful job. And we have to remember they're protecting the president, they're protecting former presidents, and many others. Again, this is a mission that is critical. The president certainly has full confidence in them. Okay, Selena.
Thanks, Karine. Donald Trump blamed President Biden and Vice President Harris for the latest assassination attempt against him. He claimed without evidence that their rhetoric is causing him to be, quote, shot at. How is the White House responding to those comments?
Well, I love that you added without evidence, because I want to be very clear here. The president and the vice president have always forcefully condemned violence in all forms, including political violence, and we certainly have never encouraged any violence in any way. If anything, this is a president and a vice president has been pretty forceful about that. When it comes to differences in issues and policies, we believe that there should be a conversation. There was a debate just last week, right? There should be a conversation and a back and forth about that, a healthy conversation. And it's crucial that we do that. And the president has also said, when it comes to, violent rhetoric, we got to bring the temperature down. You heard that directly from this president. And it is not the time to tear Americans apart. We cannot do that or divide our country. The president and the vice president is always going to call that out. But they have been very clear, very forceful on condemning any form of political violence.
So do the president and vice president believe that the kind of language that Trump used in those comments I just said are contributing to the tension and divisiveness you just talked about?
It is, look, we're going to be really clear, and we've always have been. It is important to bring down the temperature. To bring that temperature down of that political violent rhetoric. We've been very clear about that. And we believe, this president believes, let's not forget why he decided to run in 2020, was about that, was about making sure that we bring the country together, that we bring people together, and it was not about dividing. And so we're going to continue to be very, very clear about that. We're going to continue to call that out. And they did, January 6th. The president and the vice president called that out. When Paul Pelosi was attacked because of political rhetoric, violent rhetoric, we called that out. And when The first incident happened a couple weeks ago at the Butler. After that aftermath, the president called that out as well. And so he's very consistent. He thinks both sides should be very clear about that. It's not just the president or the vice president. Every leader, national leader, or any leader in this country should be calling out political violence and bringing the country together.
So if the tables get turned and Democrats start getting shot at, we're okay to say that their words is what
Should be
brought that on them. They deserve it because things they say.
I'll say this. President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy. He's been clear-eyed about that. From his role, let's not forget, from his role of January 6th, where he refused to accept the outcomes of free and fair elections. Look what happened on that day. Some of you were there at the Capitol. Some of you have colleagues who were there at the Capitol, reported and saw what happened. 2,000 angry people went there to try to overturn a free and fair election. And so it's not going to stop the president and the vice president to call out, to continue to strongly call out, when it comes to protecting our democracy. We have to be forceful about that. We have to be very clear. We can resolve our differences, right? Via talk at the ballot box, right? We can have differences in policies and issues. That is okay. It is important that we have differences there. But when it comes to political violence, we have to condemn it. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Green. A couple follow-ups. Is the White House, is the president concerned about additional escalation in the Middle East after this pager incident with Hezbollah and Israel?
I'm going to be super thoughtful about this. I'm not going to get into speculation from here.
I wasn't asking you to speculate.
I'm just not going to go beyond the reports. Just going to be not going to get into hypotheticals here.
Okay, I wasn't asking a hypothetical. I'm asking if the president is concerned about future escalation, which is something he's talked about
when
a lot.
when it comes to the Middle East, that is something that we have spoken to before. We are always obviously concerned about that. This particular incident, I don't want to get into speculate about it or get into hypotheticals about it. When we think about the conflict along the blue line between Israel and Hezbollah, it has gone on for way too long, long enough, and so it is in everyone's interest to resolve it quickly and diplomatically. So we continue to believe that there should be a diplomatic resolution to this, and so I will leave it there. And well, actually, I'll add, this is why the ceasefire negotiation is so important. This is why the hostage deal is so important. This is why the president and his administration has been working around the clock, 24 hours to get that done. We believe the deal would help reduce tensions along the blue line, and that is one of the reasons we believe diplomatic, obviously, efforts are critical and important at this time. As it relate to that incident, we've seen the reports. I just don't have anything to say beyond that.
On the issue of political rhetoric, do you have any reaction to Senator Vance's comments in which he noted that the difference between, in his view, the difference between Republicans and Democrats is that no one has tried to assassinate Vice President Harris?
Again, going to be mindful. Obviously, he's a candidate. But when you are a national leader and you have a community that looks up to your leadership, and you have a job where you're supposed to make people's lives better, where you're supposed to
Look who's talking.
the thing that is right on behalf, not just the American people, but on behalf of this country, people entrust in you to do just that, and trust in you to make decisions that's going to move this country forward, to make it the great country that it is.
Oh, look, Pat's back.
And when you have that type of language out there, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because people look up to that particular national leader, and they listen to you when you are a national
Are they referring to Elon as a national leader?
like that. All it does is create or opens an opportunity for people to listen to you and potentially take you very seriously. And so it's dangerous to have that type of rhetoric out there. This is why this president and this vice president has been very clear on condemning any type of...
No, their rhetoric brought on the mean tweets. They deserve it because of their rhetoric.
When the president called, the former president was really relieved that the president was safe. And the president has said, we need to tone that down. We need to tone it down. And it should have no place in our politics. It should have no place in our country. We should not be speaking that way. We should not be saying those things. It is already. We are living in a space right now with a political rhetoric.
She literally just said that Trump deserves what's happening to him because of his rhetoric, and then turned around and said that Elon's not allowed to post mean tweets because of the rhetoric that the blue team is doing.
And we
Okay.
At Butler, the aftermath of Butler, and over the weekend.
I'm glad she's got her clown suit on.
Tone it down. We do.
I'm gonna go make some coffee. I'll be right back.
One more on the Lebanon situation.
Try not to throw the shoes too hard, okay?
You and John Kirby from this podium have talked about so much that the one thing the U.S. would like to avoid is an escalation in the region. And we're talking about at least 9 people dead, thousands of people injured. I mean, can you give us a sense of whether there have been at least discussions here in the building about concerns that this could be the start of something new?
Look, I've always said, and we've always said to your question, our concern of escalation in the Middle East, and we've talked about, I just went into how it's important to have those diplomatic conversations, and even talked about how enough is enough. As it relates to this particular report, obviously we've seen the report. I don't have more information. I don't want to speculate from here, but we've been very clear about the tensions in the Middle East and wanting to make sure that we do everything that we can to lessen the tension there.
And can you say whether senior officials were surprised to see this kind of coordinated, widespread?
So what I can say is, if you're asking me if the U.S. was involved, no, the U.S. was not involved. If you're asking me if we were aware of the operation, we were not aware of this incident, that hundreds of pagers, as you just mentioned, were going to explode in Lebanon ahead of time. This is not something that we were aware of, and I'm just not going to go beyond that.
And just,
She referred to it as an operation. Sorry for interrupting. You referred to it as an operation.
Yeah, this incident, I don't have anything beyond the reports that are out there. I don't have anything beyond to share. What I can say is that we were not aware of this incident and of the hundreds of pagers that were going to explode in Lebanon ahead of time. That is not something that we were aware of. That's what I can confirm. Go ahead.
Just in the context of what happened on Sunday with the former president, President Biden said in a radio interview this morning, quote, "Everything's frightening." Does he feel absolutely confident that he is safe? Does he feel absolutely confident that the vice president is safe when they are out traveling, out and about?
Yes, he has full confidence in the Secret Service. He understands the difficulties of the job, the tireless work that the Secret Service, the men and women of Secret Service do every day. And he also says they need more resources to be able to, capabilities, resources to be able to do the job that they're doing. It's not just the president, it's not just the vice president, it's also former presidents and much more. And so that is why we continue to work with Congress to get that done.
So when he used the word frightening, he was not referring to anything related to his own safety, the vice president's
I mean,
safety.
I have not spoken to him specifically of what he meant. You're asking me about his own safety. What I can tell you, he has full confidence in the Secret Service.
The shooters aren't going to shoot at their employers.
The political rhetoric more broadly, which the president has said, needs to be, the temperature needs to go down. It needs to go down. You think about, January 6th again, what happened to Paul Pelosi, what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, what happened over the weekend. Yeah, we need to turn it down. It is frightening for everyone, for Americans to see that. And so we need to lower those types of, that temperature, lower that type of political violence. It has no place in politics and certainly in this country. Hold on one second. Go ahead, Nancy.
Thanks, Fran. I want to follow up on that because Senator Vance appeared to call out specifically one
Peter Ducey
earlier, which was threat to democracy. He said, "We cannot tell the American people that one candidate is a fascist and if he's elected, that it's going to be the end of American democracy. Now, I recognize that Donald Trump has also used those phrases, threat to democracy, danger to democracy, but in light of what has happened, and in light of the fact that there are going to be disturbed people who take words like threat or danger literally, is the president and is the vice president considering avoiding those specific terms, threat to democracy or danger to democracy?
I mean, look, and I answered this question. The president has always been very clear-eyed about this, about the threat of the former
She just said clear-eyed.
to our democracy. Just think about January 6th. January 6th, we have to be honest with the American people when we see those.
Second time she's brought up J6.
That type of rhetoric that led to 2,000 people going to the Capitol. We have to call that out.
Did she just say 2,000? There was more than 2,000 people there.
Step back for a second, even further. You all, as news organizations, have the obligation, right? You are all obligated to cover events like January 6th. As I mentioned before, some of your colleagues were there, some of you were there on January 6th, and you had to report that the way you saw it. The obligation to do that. And we appreciate it, because I know those were dangerous times. That was a dangerous day to be there. And, you know,
At least she didn't say it was worse than 911
any
day.
type of refusal of an outcome of an election, any type of violent rhetoric, and this administration has the responsibility to be honest to the American people.
Leave it to KJP to tell you what obligations and responsibilities are.
As a country, right, we can have disagreements on issues, on policy issues. It is okay to have that conversation. We had a debate, just as I mentioned recently. That is what's beautiful about what we do, right? To go back and forth about our democracy. But once there's violent rhetoric, we got to condemn that. And, you know, the president's going to encourage all leaders from both parties to do so. All leaders from both parties to do so.
It's only the Democrats talking shit.
All leaders on both parties have to make sure that we do
So funny. The people that want to ban guns talk the most shit.
that type of violent political rhetoric. Because look what happened. January 6th, Paul Pelosi, Butler, over the weekend. We got to be mindful. Go ahead, April. Oh, I'm sorry, April. I think she had more.
A follow-up on
Sorry.
another
I
topic.
apologize.
No problem. So this is a question about the Secret Service, and I'm wondering if the president believes that at least until the Secret Service can get the resources that he says that it needs, does he believe that both presidential candidates should be avoiding unscheduled movements, particularly in open-air locations like a golf course that are very difficult to secure when the Secret Service and law enforcement don't have a lot of advance notice?
So that is for the Secret Service to speak to. I can't speak to their protocol and how they do their business. That they are the professionals, so that is for them to decide on. I will speak to what the acting Secret Service director said. He said this yesterday as it relates to basically the former president's protection. And I think this is important. In the aftermath of July 13th, President Biden made it clear that former President Trump should have the highest level of protection offered by the Secret Service. And the president has repeatedly said that the Secret Service should have every resource, capability in order to do their job, which is mission critical. And since July 13th, the Secret Service has greatly enhanced the security footprint for the former president. And so that is something that they have said they have done. That is something that the president wanted to be done. And so anything about their protocol, how they move about, how they make decisions, to your question, that is something for them to speak to.
Thank you.
That's it? Okay. Sorry, I'm sorry about that answer earlier. Go ahead, April.
Going back to an answer that you gave to someone about lowering the temperature when it comes to this divisive rhetoric, it's not just about presidential division. It's also about lowering the temperature, do you think, when it comes to the Haitian community? Because
Tell them stop eating those cats.
narrative from President Trump and J.D. Vance has now created a problem in Ohio. It's also created a problem for not just the Haitian migrants, but also others. Could you talk to me about this, and what is the White House planning to do, if they're planning to do anything, to change that narrative and to quell all of this upset and this I guess, excitement over this?
Well, look, I mean, we have been very clear. The president.
They hate free speech so much.
The past couple of days, speaking to this directly himself. What we've seen in Springfield, Ohio, the hateful and dangerous conspiracy theories that we've heard from political leaders, and they've been pushing this over and over again. But I also want to say that you've also heard from other Republicans, like the governor of Ohio, like the mayor of Springfield, who have said, who have debunked this and have been very clear that this is not true, what we're hearing, the hateful smears, and have called it out. And we heard it from the local police department.
I think it's crazy that saying that Haitians are eating cats is hateful smears.
As I said, the president said last week this needs to stop. He spoke about it yesterday when he was at the HBCU event in Philly, and he's going to continue to do so. It is undignified and insulting to all of us as Americans, undignified and insulting to spread these types of filth. It is filth, it is dangerous, it puts us less safe, and it's dangerous, and it's disruptive, and it's fearful.
So when you say it's undignified, and the other words that you use, but you also said dangerous, how dangerous is this?
When communities feel unsafe because these type of hateful smears, this conspiracy theory.
MAGA feels unsafe because of Democrats.
When schools are being shut down, hospitals, the community in Springfield, Ohio, it puts them in danger. It does, and we've seen it. And leaders should not be pulling us apart. They should not be pulling communities apart. They should be bringing them together in shared values. That's what the president believes.
And my next and last question. We're watching the news and seeing what's happening to Sean Diddy Combs. With that said, he has been very political in the past. He has endorsed candidates. He said to vote, he said not to vote. And now this, what we see last night and today. What does this say to the American voting public as we look to these celebrities for endorsements? And I say that in light of one of the largest endorsement that this administration has received so far from people like Taylor Swift, people in the entertainment industry. What does this say to the American voter?
Don't worry, I wasn't eating the cat.
That kind of weight?
I mean, look, I'm not going to get into the politics of today and what an endorsement means. It's not for me to do from here. I think as you speak of Taylor Swift and other endorsements by entertainers, that is something I think the campaign could speak to directly. I did at the top talk about how, and want to do this without getting into politics, right? About today being voter registration day and the importance that this administration has put towards that, and also lifting up, making sure that legislation, the John Lewis legislation, gets passed through in Congress. We want to make sure that voting is more accessible for everyone that is eligible. Everyone that is eligible. That's from students to veterans and to tribal communities. It is important that voting is made.
You mean illegals?
Is made possible for folks who are eligible. I'm not going to get into entertainers and what that means for the American public, especially as we're in the middle of an election cycle. But
we're at the end. We're not at the middle.
Is a sacred right, and I think we believe people should have the ability to exercise that right to vote, whoever they choose to vote for.
So, understanding Diddy's past dabbles in politics and understanding what's happening today, if true, does this administration condemn Diddy for what he's done?
Look, it's an ongoing situation, legal matter. I would have to refer you to Department of Justice. Everything kind of is happening today, and so we just don't comment on ongoing legal matter. I'm not going to do that from here, so I'm going to leave it there. Go ahead, Anita.
Thank you so much. I have a quick Iran question, then a longer domestic question. Just starting with Iran, Their new president said that he is willing to have talks with the United States. He did give some conditions, and he also said he's willing to talk again about the nuclear program. Is the White House willing to play ball here?
So we have long said, and I kind of said this in the beginning, that we view diplomacy as the best way to achieve an effective long-term solution when it comes to Iran's nuclear program. That is something that we have been pretty consistent about in the past 3.5 years, and we believe that having those diplomatic conversations when we talk about our relationships across the globe is so critical. However, we are far and away from anything like that right now. So we will judge Iran on their actions, not their words. Always been clear about that as well. And if Iran wants to demonstrate seriousness or a new approach, they should stop their nuclear and regional escalations.
And then on domestic matters, first of all, have any figures from Ohio asked the administration for any help or assistance to safeguard the vulnerable communities there? Is this something you're considering? And then secondly, just zooming out, looking at the world and looking at your use of the word dangerous so many times today, what sort of message is the combination of these threats against the life of the candidate and all of this rhetoric, what messages is sending to American adversaries about the strength and the power of democracy? What would you say to them about that?
So two different things. You're asking about Springfield, Ohio, and I said this last week and I'll repeat it here. First of all, we got to condemn any type of hateful smears and conspiracy theories. And when you do things like that, it does make people feel less safe. It does make communities feel less safe. And it's hateful. And you've heard from the mayor of Springfield, you've heard from the governor of Ohio saying this is not true. And these are two Republicans who are saying this is not true. And we've seen what that has done to the Haitian, in this instance, the Haitian population. And it is not right. It is not okay. Going to get to your question. So since day one, the president has always wanted to make sure that communities across the country have the support they need as we talk about migrants coming into their community and wanting to make sure that they have the help and the resources available to them. And so over the past 2 years, we have provided over $130 million to help communities across Ohio hosting recently arrived migrants, including Springfield. And since this past spring, back in April, DHS has been directly engaged with the city of Springfield and local officials to make sure they have the support they need. But again, this goes back to something that we talk about all the time from here, which is the bipartisan border deal. It is critical and important to continue to move forward with that. Republicans got in the way because of what the former president said. Do not do this. Do not move this forward. They put politics over doing the right thing for the American people. And so we're certainly want to see this move forward. But they've gotten in the way in getting needed assistance, a continued assistance when it comes to migrant resources in these types of cities.
And then the world is watching. Is democracy dangerous?
I mean, look, we are always going to condemn any form of political violence. That's something that we've always been very clear about, whether it's here or abroad. And I will quote what the president said when he was at the McCain Institute just last year. Democracy means rejecting and repudiating political violence. Regardless of party, such as violence is never, never, never acceptable in America. Those are values he and the vice president have always stood for at home and in the world. Opposing political violence at every turn and encourage all leaders to do the same.
It's crazy how she lies about what Biden and Harris has said, like nobody has ears.
Continue to condemn political violence abroad as well as here, and that is what the president and the vice president has done for almost 4 years. Okay.
Thank you, Karine. A couple of questions about Brazil and then Venezuela. Today, the president had a briefing on wildfires in California and Oregon. I wonder if he's watching what's happening in Brazil. Brazil is also on fire. The Amazon is on fire. Many parts of Brazil are having record-breaking wildfires. Is the U.S. working with Brazil to help with the situation and help to mitigate the problem in the future?
Obviously, our hearts go out to to what we're seeing in Brazil with the wildfires, and we certainly are here to assist. We are in contact with the Brazilian government and are connecting experts in both governments, so we're assisting in ways that we can. Anything further, certainly I would refer you to the State Department and the USAID, but our hearts go out to the folks in Brazil who are directly affected by the wildfires.
Come on, man.
On X, Twitter has been banned in Brazil for almost 20 days now. What is the White House view or position on this matter?
Say that again?
X, and social media, Elon Musk social media is banned in Brazil. It's 20 days now that doesn't work in Brazil anymore. Was a dispute with a judge from the Supreme Court, and now it's banned for 20 days. What is the position of the U.S. government on this matter?
Look, I think when it comes to social media, we have been very clear that we think that, folks should have access to social media. It's a form of freedom of speech, and certainly that is something more broadly that we have always have been very clear about. And so I just don't have anything beyond that to share.
I can just do a follow-up from a colleague about Venezuela. Sure. The White House viewed the detention of 3 Americans and 2 Spanish in Venezuela who are accused of attempting to assassinate Maduro as a potential retaliation for U.S. sanctions and Spain's decision to welcome Edmundo Gonzalez.
So that is categorically false. It is not true. U.S. involvement in a plot to overthrow Maduro is, again, categorically false. This is just another attempt by Maduro to distract from the July 28th election results. The United States continued to support a democratic way forward in Venezuela. And so we are closely, as we have been, monitoring the situation. And due to privacy consideration, we have certainly no further comments from here.
Karine, regarding the exploding pagers in Lebanon, forgive me if I missed it. Did you say if the president had been briefed on the incident?
I have not spoken to the president, so I can't speak to that. That is, I can go back and make sure that NSC was able to do this. My guess is he's aware and he's been briefed, but I haven't directly spoken to the president about that.
Regarding the phone call between President Biden and former President Trump, how long did it last?
I'm not going to go beyond what we read out. The president called the former president and was relieved that he was safe, and the former president certainly appreciated the call. I just don't have anything further beyond that. He expressed his he was thankful for the President Biden calling him to check in on him. I just don't have anything beyond that.
And down in Florida, the governor there, Ron DeSantis, said he doesn't think it's in the best interest of the state or the nation to have the same federal agencies seeking to prosecute Trump also handle the alleged assassination attempt against him. What's the White House view on that? He wants to open a state investigation into the alleged assassination attempt, and he says that the feds should not be investigated. It's not in the interest of the nation for the feds to investigate that.
So look, the president has complete confidence in the Secret Service. I've said this multiple times at this point. There is an investigation happening. We're going to let that process move forward. And I think until that happens, I don't think anybody should comment on that.
And finally, you said that the president is heading to UNGA. Is the vice president going as well?
Right now, the vice president is not planning to participate in the UN General Assembly related events. As in the past, it is possible she meets with foreign leaders here in Washington, D.C. next week, but I don't have anything to announce, further to announce on her involvement.
Is that a conscious decision, sort of like there's only one president at a time type thing?
I wouldn't read it that way. Appreciate the question, though. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine. Staying on UNGA, the president will be delivering his final address as president before that body next week. Could you talk a little bit about what the message is that he wants to deliver about his leadership over the last 4 years, particularly with the fact that the wars in Ukraine as well as Gaza are still unresolved, and his predecessor has repeatedly claimed that neither of those conflicts would have happened if he were still president?
As you can appreciate, Francesca, I'm not going to get ahead of the president. He's going to speak for himself. He's going to lay out what his thoughts are when we see him deliver his address to the Assembly next week. And so I'm going to not get ahead of the president and just gonna leave it there for now.
And on the issue of Russia's war against Ukraine, the German chancellor said last week that talks needed to speed up and that at the next peace conference that Russia should be at the table. Is it the White House's view that the next peace talks need to take place before November?
Look, I've always been clear, and we've always been clear, nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. So this is something, obviously, as it relates to that, certainly Ukraine has to be involved and make sure that they're at the table. I cannot speak to anything further or beyond the next peace talks. But I will say, as I've said many times before, as my colleagues have said many times before, this can end today. The war in Ukraine that Russia started, Russia's aggression, could end today. It could end today. This is Mr. Putin's war. He started this war. And he can stop it by moving his troops out, by ending the war on a sovereign territory, on a democracy. He can end this. And so I'll just leave it there. Go, Danny.
Thanks, Kerry. Just going back to Lebanon, a few hours before these pages exploded, Israel said that it was expanding the aims of its war against Hamas to focus on Hezbollah along the northern border with Lebanon. Do you have any indications that this incident may have been a kind of prelude to some kind of major Israeli operation?
I'm not going to speculate from here. Like I said, we've seen the reports. I just don't have any more information, and I'm just not going to speculate.
Very quickly, the other day, President Biden gave the thumbs up when I asked him if he was going to be traveling to Angola, as our friends at Reuters reported. Do you have any more details on that? Can you confirm any details?
So you asked the questions and your friends at Reuters reported it? Is that what you're saying?
No, I wish it was. Reuters reporting.
I don't have anything. We don't have anything at this time to share on any travel for the president. So just leave it there. Okay.
Thank you, Corinne. It's been only 2 days since somebody allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump again. And you're here at the podium in the White House briefing room calling him a threat. How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it, because
Asking questions is dangerous.
and to say that from an administration
Fuck you.
who has consistently condemned political violence, from an administration where the president called the former president and was grateful that he was okay, from an administration who has called out January 6th, called out the attack of Paul Pelosi, called out and said we need to lower the temperature after the Butler incident, and now for you to make that kind of comment in your question, because your question involved a comment and a statement. And, it is, that is also incredibly dangerous. When we have been very clear in condemning political violence from here, what I have said about the president, the former president, about January 6th is facts. That you all have reported.
It's not.
It is
She's
facts.
lying.
When you have a former president who basically
Is the fucking man, I know.
wasn't the results of the election were not the results of the election. When dozens of more than 60 Republican judges said that it was a free and fair election. More than 60 said it was indeed a free and fair election. You had more than 2,000 people who were told to go to the Capitol. It was one of the darkest days of our democracy. One of the darkest days. There were law enforcement officers who died because of what
They killed themselves, buddy.
at the Capitol. And they were there because the former president told them to go there.
Peacefully and patriotically.
I don't know if that's not a threat in our democracy when it was one of the darkest days.
Blink, blink, blink like a psychopath.
One of the darkest days.
To your
And
point,
so we have been very clear from here. Now, we can have a disagreement on policies.
You could suck a bag of dicks.
That is what we should do. It is important to have those disagreements. It is welcome to have those disagreements on the economy, on healthcare, on foreign policy. But when you start bringing political rhetoric, that is not okay. And that's
She's only allowed to talk like that, not you, Peter.
policies.
but to your point, there are people watching at home who might miss the part where you say, let's lower the temperature, and there are mentally unstable people who are attempting to kill political
Democrats.
attempting to kill Donald Trump, and they are still hearing this White House refer to him as a threat. Is there no concern that people are taking that literally?
We're using examples. We're not just saying that just to say it. January 6th, Peter. January 6th. Wait, January 6th. How many times?
She has no idea how big of a hypocrite she is right now. The whole world's watching her be a hypocrite.
That is a fact. What was reported that happened on that day by some of your colleagues. I mean, and we have at the same time denounced political violence over and over, political rhetoric over and over again. Over and over again. But I know your focus has to be on this side of the house. It can't be on your side of the house. I get that. But we also have to.
She's all been out of shape.
Asking me these questions. People are watching, and is what you are saying about us raising political violent rhetoric, however you just formulated it, this is an administration that has denounced and condemned any type of political rhetoric or violence. It is the reason why this president decided to run in 2020. That is why the president decided to come back. He believed that it is important to save the soul of America, of our nation, and he believed
That's why he dropped out of the race?
that we continue to fight for our democracy, fight for our freedom. That's what you see from this administration. I'm moving on. Go ahead, Ed.
Damn, he didn't even get an answer to his question. What a bitch.
Does the president and vice president support no taxes on overtime for workers?
So, just a couple of things on that. Look, the president and this vice president has been pretty consistent on
Hit
making
that like button, you hooligans.
we continue to lower costs for Americans, but also at the same time make sure that we're increasing wages, and that's what we have seen.
Lying makes you
The question that you're asking me is supporting overtime pay. This is something, a proposal from in the 2024 election, so I'm going to be really, really mindful. But we also can't forget what the last administration did. They eliminated overtime protections for millions of workers. The Biden-Harris administration restored overtime protections to 1 million workers, and next year we will extend protections to another 3 million workers. That means our administration is ensuring higher paychecks and more time with family for millions of Americans after the last administration took that away. And so we cannot forget that, what this administration has done.
She's fucking awful. We need to stop the hateful rhetoric. By the way, the previous president's administration took your freedoms away.
21% elected.
Literally back to back. Literally back to back.
Does the president believe that Americans are better off now than they were 4 years ago?
Yes, and I understand what you're asking me. I get it. There's still a lot more work to be done, and we've always said that. That's why the president is always, and the vice president are always continuing to try to figure out how do we lower those costs. And we cannot forget what happened 4 years ago. We cannot forget what this president and this vice president walked into, what they inherited from the previous administration. And so it was an economy that was a free-for-all, that was a once in a century pandemic. There was no comprehensive plan to deal with that pandemic. The president and Democrats in Congress passed the American Rescue Plan, shots in arms, money in pockets. And also when we took over, the last year of the former administration, violence, murder was at an all-time high. And we have been able to bring down violent crime at a 50-year low. And so
You're a liar.
we're able to negotiate lower drug prices. We are beating Big Pharma, something that former presidents, elected officials have been trying to do for some time. And so while we still have a lot more work to do, we do believe 4 years ago there was a pandemic.
Word.
People were dying. Thousands of people were dying. There was no plan. Our economy was literally in a downfall.
So you want to talk about Fauci and gain of function?
If the dock workers don't get a contract, there could be a strike. Is the president, going to invoke the federal law to avoid or to
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. I'm not going to get hypotheticals from here. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.
That's right. Run, 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 you little bitch. She's so bent out of shape. Peter Ducey can't even do anything but sit there because he can't believe the bullshit that she's saying. She needs to resign. She needs to resign and take 2 shoes and call me in the morning. All right, hooligans, we're going to read through the schedule really quick. Holy KJP's lies. Mac the Goat is doing great. Thanks to Matt sending some batteries. Holy. Anyways, that was KJP lying her face off over at the White House in Washington, D.C. Later on today, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump will be live on stage. It's titled, President Trump hosts a town hall with Governor Sarah Sanders in Flint, Michigan. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be covering that live. Now, before we get any further, I want to remind you guys, if you would like to join the website, right now is the time to do it. Go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. That way you can watch today's live. You can post in Hooligans Alley, and you can hang out with all the hooligans in the group chats. Plus, you'll even be able to join us Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time to do our voice chat, which is a lot of fun. So definitely go get you a membership for jeffmaclive.com. Next up, we got a video titled New Calls for Mayor Adams to Resign because his staff is, holy hell, his staff is being investigated for multiple things. They're all on federal indictments and whatever. So they're saying that Mayor Eric Adams is a bad person that doesn't know what he's doing and he should resign. What's really interesting is none of those same people seem to notice when old man Walter was running the country into the ground and he was doing a piss poor job in his position. No, nobody noticed that. But Eric Adams, oh yes, let's use all the excuses to say he's bad. Now, I'm not defending him, but if one's bad, they're all bad, and they should call it out across the board. But instead, they're just fucking hypocrites. Next up, we have Meta deepens smart glasses tie-up with Ray-Ban maker. Apparently, smart glasses is still a thing. I remember when Google came out with some sort of smart lenses or something, they got banned because people were driving and trying to use them at the same time. I thought they did away with that. Apparently not. Apparently, there's still been digital glasses on the market, and they're just creating some new ones through Facebook and Ray-Ban. Then after that, we have a video titled, Elon Musk shouldn't joke about political assassinations. Oh, he said something about, Democrats. Ain't nobody shooting at the Democrats, Oh, they're all bent out of shape about that. Oh, no, they don't like the thought of the tables being turned, but, that's okay because nobody's doing that stuff anyways. It's all their shooters. Then we got a video titled, You Are Going to Have Hell to Pay. I don't know what this word is. Turbeville, I think, warns of risk of failing to have fair elections. These individuals here talking about how Americans don't feel like the elections are fair, transparent, accurate. There's a long list of things, but one thing is we don't believe that they are the way they should be. So those individuals are going out and talking about it. Then we have a video titled Exploding Pagers Injure Hundreds of Lebanon. Now, I don't normally cover foreign stuff because we have our own problems, but everybody seems to be very interested in this. I highly doubt we'll ever know the truth of it because it sounds like some really crazy sauce here. But because you guys wanted it, I went and found a video on it, and so we will be covering that. Then we got a video titled Hillary Clinton calls Trump dangerous 24 hours after second assassination attempt. We got a part 2 on this where Hillary Clinton goes on to saying pushes criminal charges for Americans who spread Russian disinformation. I think it's interesting that anytime they feel that something is misinformation or disinformation, they just attach the word Russia to it. You could be talking about how your dog shit had corn in it, and somehow that is Russia disinformation, according to Hillary Clinton and most of the damn Democrats. That second video is about Hillary Clinton thinking that people like me should be arrested civilly or criminally and be charged for saying what we think on the internet, whether we're in a line with what President Trump is saying or otherwise. She just thinks free speech should be an arrestable offense. Then we have a video titled Sean Diddy Calms the Diddler Indictment. It's titled Federal Prosecutors Unseal Criminal Charges. So I don't know what light switch got flipped, but all of a sudden they just decided to go arrest the diddler. He was in the news a lot a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago. I can't even remember when he was really active. It was like every day he was in the news, and then it all just died down. There was talk that he got on a plane and went to some private island, and then you never heard about it again. Then there was mugshots that were appearing and claims that he was arrested, and now out of nowhere, I think it was yesterday or the day before, he just magically got arrested, and now he's being detained. I believe he's still being detained. And they have all these accusations against him, but this whole time I think he's a federal asset. So I think the reason it took so long for them to arrest him is because they had to remove all the evidence that ties him to important people where his downfall may become their downfall. So I think they sent the Fed boys in there to clean up shop, and now they're going to go chop his head off, and that way that will be it, and nobody else will go down with him. That's just my speculation, because why else did it take 6 months to arrest him when they raided his house, like I said, within like 6 months ago? So anyways, and that will be the last of the news. Then we have two funny videos of the day. The first one is titled Fuck Antifa, and the second one is titled He Died for Our Sins. All of that's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think about KJP and her lying bullshit. Snooks, I'll bail you out and you can do house probation at my house. I'll feed you good. Well, I appreciate that, Snooks, but I'm a violent offender, so if I get arrested, I don't get bail. They don't let me out. Nope. They don't allow that, but I appreciate that, Snooks. RK, I was just about to comment on P. Diddy. Yep, the diddler. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be an Epstein thing because Diddy's a mysterious person. He's been in the music industry forever. And like I said, I think he's tied to federal assets because anybody that gets too big and too influential becomes in connection with the White House and stuff like that. Look at Facebook. Look at all the social media platforms. You know, it seems like there always ends up being like the White House reaching out to these people or trying to make connections and stuff, because you could challenge what the White House says. You could challenge what the news says, and there's enough people listening to you to where you matter. I think they went after Joe Rogan to a certain degree too, because of how his content has changed over the years. I mean, he still does, fine, but he used to be on all platforms, and now he's exclusively on Spotify, and that seemed like a really dumb deal to me. But anyways, I think that they had got to him too. I think they do that with everybody that gets big enough, but anyways, we will be covering it when we get to that point. RK, just beware of the beer goggles. Well, I mean, fun is still fun. Well, they say riding fat girls is like riding a scooter. It's all fun until your friends find out. Stupid. So stupid. Anyways. Zero, don't drink the water in Flint. I know. Is our water in Flint worse than the water in Mexico? Remember people used to say that? If you go to Mexico, don't drink the water. If you go to Michigan, don't go to Flint. That's how it goes. 10-man Diddy, the diddler. He's going to be famous in prison. They're going to love him. Cody. Oh, yeah, Diddy. P. Diddy will be dead soon. Yeah, Cody. I think so, too. I think that, one, he knows too much. And, two, they're not going to want him to even speak about other people, let alone having evidence to provide, because like I said, I think they went and cleaned house. I don't think they're going to want him to speak. I think he's going to end up like McAfee or something like that. I think it's crazy how many people forget about what happened to McAfee. And Zero tagged me in the RV that exploded in Nashville on Christmas Day, because everybody forgot about that too. I bring that up every like 6 months. People forget. They forget, but I don't. I stay plugged into the computer. It still feels like 2020 lockdowns to me. I never logged off. What's up, Spicy K? Happy freedom. Flea Speech. Scamilla is live right now and drunk. Is she? Hold on. Let me see this bullshit. We're not going to watch. I know everybody's like, oh, I'm leaving. No. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I just want to hear her slurring her speech a little bit. They don't even have it on the White House schedule. All they had is the press. Hold on. You're skipping some things. All they got is the press briefing up here. They don't even have anything about Hyena Harris being live. She must not be that damn important. That's all right. Anyways, moving forward. Pumpkin, elections are at least 5% fair. Only where there's hooligans present. J-Dog, thumbs up, you bigots. Appreciate you, J-Dog. Zeus Boot, Camilla's bombing hard. All right, where is this bitch at? Let's get this figured out. If you guys turn off all the tracking on YouTube, I'm gonna do that forever. It'll turn into this. I bet you've never seen this. You gotta turn all the trackers off. But see this black screen? This is my homepage on YouTube. When I go to the YouTube app, this is what I see, because they won't actually show you anything if you have the tracking turned off. Twitch is like that too. They'll only let you watch videos if you don't use a certain kind of VPN. They want to know your location in order to show you videos. Let's listen to this douchebag really quick. We're not gonna listen to the whole thing, I know. And before we do, let me remind you of this shirt so I can get it off the screen. We have these outraged hooligan T-shirts. Comes in shirts for men, shirts for women, tank tops for men, tank tops for women, coffee mugs, stickers, dog tags, pullover hoodies, zipper hoodies, and the entire design was made by Alistair because he's such a badass. So definitely go check out all the items we have on the merch store. Today I got on the Second Amendment hooligan T-shirt. Like I said, go check everything out on the merch store. I'll drop the link in the chat. While we're hearing this cunt talk to us.
Extra pregnancy unless necessary to save the mother's life.
We need to put the protections of Roe v. Wade back into law. And when that bill gets passed by Congress, I will proudly sign it into law. Understand what is happening in our country. Over 20 states have passed what I call Trump abortion bans because I understand how we got here. The former president handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. They did as he intended, and in state after state, laws have been passed criminalizing healthcare providers. I don't know if anyone here has heard most recently the stories out of Georgia. Tragic story about a young woman who died because it appears the people who should have given her health care were afraid they'd be criminalized.
I'll be right back.
After the Dobbs decision came down. Laws that make no exception even for rape or incest, which means that you're telling a survivor of a crime of a violation to their body that they have no right to make a decision about what happens to their body next, which is immoral. An approach that doesn't take into account that most people, I think, agree you don't have to abandon your faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do with her body. If she chooses, she will talk with her pastor, her priest, her rabbi, her imam.
All right, that is more Hyena Harris than I want to listen to. Apparently she's out here lowering the temperature. Lowering that temperature, telling all the soft and stupid people of the world that President Trump's doing an abortion ban, which is not true. That is fake news. That is not true. So like I said, she's out here lowering the temperature by telling people that President Trump is banning women's health care. Yeah, good job. Good job, Hyena Harris. Like I said, the shooters are Democrats. Those people ain't worried about going out there and lying, especially about President Trump. They're causing the shooters. They're the ones paying them. Anyways, let's see where we are on the schedule here. We're going to be getting into this video here. It's titled New Calls for Mayor Adams to Resign. It's not even about him. It's about everybody around him. Anyways, let's get this rolling. Don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
New calls for Mayor Adams to resign. This as several of his top aides are caught up in federal investigations.
All right, Fox 5's Morgan Mackay was at City Hall this morning to ask some tough questions and joins us now with what you found out. Morgan.
Stephen, Natasha, 3 lawmakers are now calling on Mayor Eric Adams to step down, but he says that's not going to happen, even as his top legal advisor resigned over the weekend.
This mayor has to resign.
City Councilwoman Tiffany Caban is now the first city council member to call on Mayor Eric Adams to resign following numerous federal investigations. The mayor has not been charged in connection with any of these federal inquiries, but Caban says that it has been a pattern of mismanagement.
It's not just that more than 15 of his associates are being investigated, but it's also, a culmination of his other failures of leadership.
There are believed to be at least 4 federal investigations targeting the mayor and his top aides. This includes the investigation that prompted the former NYPD Police Commissioner Edward Caban to resign last week. Federal investigators are reportedly looking into whether Caban's twin brother sold police protection to nightlife businesses. Several NYPD executives have also been caught up in that investigation and had to turn over their phones to the FBI. Additionally, federal prosecutors are also reportedly investigating 2 deputy mayors, a top Adams aide, the school's chancellor, and Adams' campaign for other alleged corruption violations. In a stunning move over the weekend, Adams' chief legal advisor, Lisa Zornberg, also abruptly quit. And in her very short letter to the mayor, she said, quote, "I have concluded that I can no longer effectively serve in my position." According to numerous outlets, Zornberg quit over frustration that the mayor would not fire some of his aides that are caught up in these federal investigations.
She has been a great advisor. There are many things she advised us on, and we moved on. But I'm not going to go into the private conversations.
2 state lawmakers are also calling on Adams to resign. State Senator Julia Salazar and State Assemblywoman Emily Gallagher.
Eric Adams is failing at his job. His administration is rampant with serious scandal, and that's a sign of poor management.
If the mayor were to resign, which he has insisted he would not, public advocate Jumaane Williams would step in as temporary mayor. Williams says that is not something he is focused on, but called the growing number of investigations around Adams exhausting.
I don't think any of us in our lifetime or our parents' lifetime has seen anything like this. It's shocking. It's stunning. And I don't think we're getting the appropriate response for how heavy this actually is.
And the nonprofit news outlet The City is also just now reporting that a high-level NYPD official whose phone was confiscated by the FBI in a federal corruption probe is also now leaving the force.
Yeah, interesting. Just sort of ratchets up a little bit. Yeah, so talk to us exactly how much pressure do you think the mayor is under to resign? And is that just expected to grow in the coming days and weeks?
The New York Times had an article over the weekend that said it's been since 1932 since the mayor has seen 3 police commissioners, and the mayor at that time, Mayor Walker, resigned due to corruption. So this is a stunning development, and to Jumaane Williams' point, some council members and state lawmakers feel like Adams just isn't taking it as seriously as he should be. Now, the U.S. Attorney Damian Williams today even said in his press conference when he was asked, what do you tell New Yorkers? There's just so much going on right now, so many different investigations. And he said he couldn't comment too much right now, but he said that if anybody else knows of any corruption or is involved in any sort of corruption, they need to come forward now.
Wow.
Get your deal while you can. Wow, fascinating stuff. All right, thanks, Morgan.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Eric Adams was like some hero when they became a sanctuary city. Then they realized they weren't getting those federal doll hairs to take care of all those illegal border crossers that they're housing over there in New York. I'm trying to think if it was yesterday or the day before. I was hearing people say that the claims of border crossers being in 5-star hotels in Chicago and New York is falsities by Republicans, that is fake news spread by Republicans and Trump supporters. It's crazy how people's brains just don't work, and somehow they're here alongside us in society. It's crazy. I can't believe it. I can't believe this stupid shit going on. Eric Adams decided to turn against old man Walter and start speaking bad, holding press briefings and or press briefers. I don't know what they are, pressers, in New York, stating that Old Man Walter was not going to be providing federal funding to house or help with the border crosser problem, and that they were going to have to cut resources to first responders, police, people like that. They were going to have to cut the budget for those resources to provide money to the border crossers for resources and whatever. Ever since that started, an investigation opened up on his campaign financial advisor person, who's only like some 23-year-old woman. She was investigated by the FBI, originally having her phone taken and stuff, because they believe that Eric Adams was receiving money from the Turkish government for his campaign fund. After that that investigation started, they also went after Eric Adams. I think they confiscated his phones twice over that, and since then there's been multiple investigations opening up, because that's what happens when you turn your back on Old Man Walter. So we'll see what happens with Eric Adams. Of course, we'll stay up to date with his downfall and all of that. Next up, we have Meta Deepen smart glasses tie-up with Ray-Ban maker. Like I was saying earlier, these are sunglasses with smart technology in them, or whatever. It's like wearing a cell phone on your face. Not quite the goggles that came out that they were saying was going to replace the cell phone. Now you don't even hear about them. I don't even remember what they're called. Apple Vision or some shit? I don't know. This isn't that, though. These are sunglasses that got little computers in them or whatever. We're going to be covering that next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about Eric Adams. Salty Ragu, there is no corruption in New York or Chicago. I believe you, Salty Ragu. Happy freedom to you. Zero, they'll find kitty stuff on his phone? They might. Not the kind of kitty stuff that they're talking about in Ohio. The bad kind. The worst kind. Let's say that. The worst kind. Zero, this is what happens when you turn... When you go against the deep state. Yeah, Zero. That's exactly what's going on. Reading through. Pumpkin. It's Turkey's fault then, I'm sure. Yep. I don't know if they were colluding with foreign countries. I think they've been doing their own bad stuff. But it's probably tied to a bunch of other bad people, so it's easier to say, oh no, foreign government did it. It's their version of Russia. Pumpkin, find the grocery list. I make a grocery list and then I still forget stuff on it, but I'm a man. That's my excuse. Can't figure out groceries without women telling me what to buy, you know? It's just the way it is. Zeus Boots, she's so gross. I know. Hyena Harris looks like a ball sack with teeth. I'm tired of her face. It's all over the damn internet, and I think that every time I see her. She posted a picture herself where her feet were all tottered weird and stuff, and she was sitting here with her hands all weird, and her face, it was like she was leaning too far forward, and the skin was just moving to the tip of the penis. I was like, what is going on? Why are you posting unflattering photos of yourself? This is a ball sack with teeth. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. Anyways. Diddy. I just noticed that they no longer put protect and serve on police cars anymore. Interesting. Ours say it. Ours say protect and serve, and they say God bless America on the back of the cars. Here in West Michigan, or at least in Ludington, that's what they show. Adam, I swear to God, she looks like a ball sack with teeth. I can't unsee it, and it's angry, and I don't know. It's too much. It's too much. Spicy Peach, they could send the illegals home and stop funding foreign wars. Nah, they will never do that. That's their favorite. All right, hooligans, we're gonna move on to Meta Deepen smart glasses tie-up with Ray-Ban maker. Never had any Ray-Bans or Oakleys or anything. I've never really worn cool glasses. The coolest glasses I've ever had, I'm trying to think of his name right now. I can't even think of his name. I'd have to find the box. He makes his own glasses, and he used to come hang out with us all the time. And it's been a while. I'll have to think of his name. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get into this. Once again, it is Meta Deepen smart glasses tie-up with Ray-Ban maker.
Meta is deepening its partnership with the firm behind Ray-Bans in a bid to drive demand for smart glasses. The Facebook parent firm has agreed a new 10-year deal with the Franco-Italian EssilorLuxottica, but Tuesday's news saw no mention of it taking a stake in the world's largest eyewear maker. The Wall Street Journal had previously said that was being discussed.
The next generation of Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses.
Since 2019, the firms have launched 2 generations of smart glasses. The first version didn't sell much, but a new model launched in late 2023 has sold more units in a few months than the previous one did in 2 years. Ray-Ban's Meta eyewear allows users to make calls, listen to music, and take photos just by pressing a button on the frame. An AI function was added in May for wearers in the US and Canada. In a statement, Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg said the deal could help make glasses the next major technology platform.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. Now that I'm thinking about it, I remember Snapchat or somebody had glasses that came out. You'd be able to snap your bullshit. I don't know. Snapchat's for whores. But anyways, I just remember that they had some glasses and stuff. The problem with these gimmicky devices is they never have the right components in it. So like, yeah, you get these Meta glasses and you'll be able to walk around with cameras on your face so the government can see from your point of view. But the camera will be low quality, the audio will be trash, you'll be taking a phone call, everyone's going to hear the world around you, or you'll be driving down the road and they're going to hear wind blowing into your face. It's just a gimmick. That's all it is. Let's make new versions of cell phones. They're just reinventing the wheel. That's it. The same thing with the Oculus glasses stuff. Like, yeah, the augmented reality stuff is okay, but most of the stuff that they try to do with it is reinvent the cell phone. And they're doing it with glasses. Pretty soon we'll have digital contacts that you stick in your eyeball and log into your Facebook by twiddling your toes or something. I mean, it's gimmicky. We don't need that. We need less phone time. Like, I've been thinking that the last couple of days. I'm like, man, I spend a lot of time staring at my phone. I need to do less of that. Yeah, Snooks, that's who I was talking about. It was Newton. Newton sent me some badass sunglasses. It's got real silver on it and all kinds of stuff. Those are the best glasses I've had. I asked him to send me his website like 3 or 4 times. He never has. So I can't send anyone to his website to go get badass glasses, but those are the best glasses I've gotten. Thank you for reminding me, Snooks. RK, anybody remember the X-ray glasses back in the day? I think I remember hearing about them when I was a kid, but never seen them for myself. Zero, I don't wear sunglasses. They block the sunlight, which is actually really good for you. I actually wear sunglasses all the time because I live in my dark-ass house. So when I go outside, it feels like my eyeballs are bleeding. I can't even go into Walmart without wearing sunglasses because the light is too much for my eyes. Matt, I have bright blue eyes and the sun hurts and it's worse with overcast. Interesting. Matt, I didn't know the color of your eyes affected that stuff. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I've heard of, you ever seen people black out the white part of their eyes, like get that part tattooed? Some people think it looks cool. Some people think it looks scary, but people who have those tattoos, they say that the light is interpreted differently after you tattoo the white part of your eyeballs because of the contrast and the way that light reflects off your eyes. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense that having different color eyes would affect sensitivity to light because of reflection. That makes sense. I got green eyes, but you guys can't tell. On the live, it looks like I got big-ass black eyes. I have green and brown eyes. I have hazel eyes, but my eyes look like sunflowers. You just can't tell. I look like a dark-eyed demon, but I'm not. I'm not. J-Dog, I'm telling you, buy some gators. Like some alligators or some glasses. I ain't never heard of gators before. Are they racist? Do they like Trump? Are they against the gay people? We'll see. We'll see. I'll check it out. Thank you for letting me know, J-Dog. Alistair, I won't get the Oculus, but I would love to get the HTC Vive. So many creative possibilities just to not be tied to a monitor. Yeah, Alistair, I've never heard of the HTC Vive. I like the Oculus for certain benefits, like being able to learn things. You can learn to play piano. You can also get your creative ideas out with the multiple digital screens in front of you. Things like that. I've thought about using one creatively for work purposes, but I can't. I mean, that's not a good enough reason to spend $400 on the Oculus. And I don't like that Meta bought Oculus. And so now if you use WhatsApp, if you use Instagram, if you use, it's like a long list of stuff. It's all Facebook products. I don't want to use Facebook, especially to do any kind of augmented reality nonsense. I'll have to check out the HTC Vive A-lister. Get this pulled up. There we go. Ghostly, some of the people with the eye tattoos go blind after a few years. I believe it, Ghostly. I believe it. They were saying that the ink for that tattoo ink causes cancer, or it has something. It hurts your immune system, because in between the layers of skin where the tattoo ink sits is where your body is moving germs and stuff like that. It's your immune system is doing things in between the layers of skin, and you're putting ink there. And I don't know if it's true or not. You know, these studies come out, and most of the time the studies, I mean, if not every time, whoever funds the study gets the results they're looking for. That's the problem with these studies. That's why when we were in school and we were in science class, that's why none of that science is accurate anymore. Everything we learned in school, that like, it doesn't even matter. High school science, a lot of that stuff's not even true anymore. Like they don't teach the phases of matter anymore, right? There used to be solid, liquid, gas. When I was in high school, plasma was the new one. They don't teach any of that anymore. Now it's vibrating molecules, because there is no different phases of matter, is different phases of vibrations. So because of studies and whoever funding it, that changes the information. And so now here we are, we're all grown ass hooligans, and everything we were taught in school isn't even true anymore. And that's why people are questioning if space is real, or if dinosaurs ever existed, or, you know, have we ever been to the moon? A lot of that is because whoever funds these studies gets the findings they want. I heard a lot about that, about a glass of wine a day is good for your heart, right? Well, they apparently made that because wealthy people drank wine. Non-wealthy people drank beer. If you sit there and drink wine in the day, you look like a wino. So they go and pay for a study saying it's good for you. So now you don't look like an alcoholic while you're sitting there drinking wine. There's all kinds of stuff like this. You can look all that stuff up. It's crazy. And so I have a hard time believing any of these damn studies. If I ain't seen it myself, I ain't believing it. You know, I'm just saying. Zeus Boot, Black-Eyed, AI, Jeff Mack. No. I'm not AI. They wouldn't get the gaps in my teeth right. You know, that's how you'd know. You see me show up with perfect teeth, you know it's AI. League of Tournament, so you're a true flower. I mean, I guess. What's up, Lisa? Happy freedom. Diddy. I don't know if that's Mitchell or what that is. Mitchell, you're responding to somebody. They have glasses where you can see behind you. I used to have a pair where they got the little mirrors in the corners. I remember that stuff being at the book fair when I was in elementary school. DD, look into Locks sunglasses. They have the darkest lenses. We'll definitely check that out. I always try and get sunglasses that got the mirrored finish on the outside so people can't see my eyes. I always feel like it's weird when you have sunglasses on and you can tell that people are trying to see your eyes through your sunglasses. I don't want people looking at me that damn hard. I get confused and I think they're a threat, and then things escalate. Saltaregu, I heard the birds ain't real. We can't talk about that. Saltaregu, we can't talk about that. Moving forward, this next one's titled Elon Musk shouldn't joke about political assassinations. It's fine when they do it, but they don't like it when, you know, anybody else does it, because that's how Democrats are. They're big kid fucking crybabies. Anyways, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys, if you would like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, make sure you post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out as we're making Saturdays more fun. Let's go ahead and get into this. They're all mad at Elon. He can kick their little dumpster fire hornet nest. Let's go ahead and get into this. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
Looking live right now at the White House with fewer than 50 days to Election Day, billionaire Elon Musk at the center of yet another firestorm after making what he says was a joke about political violence on his social media site X, of course, formerly known as Twitter. Following the second attempted assassination on President Trump, Musk took to social media in a now deleted post musing about how no one is trying to kill President Biden or Vice President Harris. It's just the latest controversial comment from the tech entrepreneur whose growing influence on this year's election is sparking a whole lot of questions from a whole lot of people. Joining me now is political commentator and host of So What on YouTube, Chris Cillizza.
They're going to make everyone mad. Be prepared for that.
Republicans sounding off on this one, saying cool it. You know, like Representative Adam Kinzinger writing, what's wrong with this guy? Can someone who loves him have an intervention? I'm serious. This is off the rails. And Chris, he's now calling it a joke.
Yeah, I mean, look, a couple things. Number one, when you have 197 million Twitter or X followers and you own the platform, you got to be real careful when you're talking about political assassination in general. You really have to watch your words. You definitely can't joke about it. I mean, look, I don't have 197 million followers, and I certainly would never joke about political assassination, but I've learned that some things that I put on there that I thought were just meant to be funny, people didn't think is funny. So it feels like Elon Musk either doesn't know or doesn't care about the level of influence that he has, which doesn't excuse him, by the way. I mean, his job in some ways, his responsibility is to know that, but it's very odd. He seems to have sort of the mentality of like a not super mature 15-year-old boy who just kind of likes to pop off.
Yeah, I know he said just because I say it in a room of people who laugh doesn't mean it needs to be something that's shared with the masses. But, you know, Chris, he's all of a sudden taken a huge interest in Trump. I mean, basically offered up his interest in services and being a cabinet member, essentially. Tweets about it dozens of times a day. What do you make of it, and what do you think his end game is?
Well, it's strange, Marky, because he wasn't super political in 2020 or 2016. You know, I mean, he's been a well-known figure for a long time. I don't totally understand where he's headed, other than he appears to be reacting against what he believes to be a sort of woke culture. That people are, the political correctness police are out, and that he's always been kind of a different kind of cat. He's always been a different dude, and he sort of thinks that people are trying to silence people like him. I think that there is a broader issue here than just like a bad tweet from Elon Musk.
Yeah, Democrats.
If the guy who owns the public square where the day-to-day stories of politics, whether it's political journalists or people who are in politics, they're still very much on X. It's not everybody, but that conversation forms there. If the guy who owns that town square and controls how that town square works is clearly favoring one of the two candidates for president, I think that does raise some questions about sort of, you know, conflicts of interest and ethics there.
Sure. Yeah, he's certainly the sheriff in town when it comes to X. I'll be having Trump spokeswoman Caroline Levitt on a little bit later to see if, you know, what she thinks the end game is, if they know something that we don't behind the scenes. Chris Cillizza, always good to have you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to join in.
It's so crazy that they could have some soft and stupid idiot up there talking that nonsense like he just was. And next up, they're going to have Caroline Levitt, who is like the face of the Trump team, but she's also a part of Project 2025. She had some hand in Project 2025. So how do you go from that soft and stupid gay guy to such an extremist as Caroline Levitt? Like, is she a threat to democracy? These people are so stupid. They're so soft and stupid and afraid of everything around them. And I can't tell if they know they're lying or if they're just so frantic legitimately afraid that those words are just flashing inside their brain, like, oh no, a threat to democracy, and they are just in a state of panic and can't seem to leave it. It's so stupid. Elon saying, well, no one's shooting at the Democrats, somehow is violent rhetoric. No, it's fucking true. That's what it is. Like, the Orange Eagle's not safe in the country, in his state he lives in. He's not even safe at home. But yeah, let's get all mad at Elon and stuff because he's just pointing out the facts. Look how they just treated Peter Doocy at the White House press briefing. They won't even allow the other side to speak. This is not a fight against Republicans. It's a fight against free speech. That's what it is. Speech is only free when they're saying it. Otherwise, everybody else is a bigot and a piece of shit. And that's the way it goes. And like KJP was just doing, saying they need to stop the violent rhetoric and then turn around and talk about how President Trump is taking away women's rights. Literally back to back. Like literally back to back. And they don't even see the hypocrisy at all. They just cannot see it. And the Democrat voters see this and believe it because they think this is all high school games. Name calling. Let's take a quick jab at the teacher and get the classroom to laugh. That's how they're playing the game. It's all vanity. It's all vanity. What's Harris's policies? No one knows. Trump did it. That's it. That's all they got. Trump did it. They're saying that President Trump deserves people shooting at him because of words. Words he says somehow equals a violent response, and that's just okay with the Democrats. They're like, well, if he'd shut his mouth, he wouldn't be having bullets thrown at him. Like, if it was the other way around, they'd never leave the house. They'd be hiding in the basement talking about gun bans and shit. And it's really interesting that they're not mentioning gun bans. You know, anytime something happens, someone farts and it sounds like a machine gun, all of a sudden they got to hold a press briefing about how they think that we need assault weapons bans because that assault will get you. But President Trump gets shot at and they don't say anything about it. I don't want them to, but they're telling on themselves. That's what it is. They're telling on themselves. Gun violence is only bad when it's not happening to when it's not happening to President Trump. When it's happening to President Trump, better watch that rhetoric. They're showing their hand. And I don't know why people can't see that. I mean, I know the hooligans can see it, but the normies, they don't see this. When KJP is contradicting herself sentence after sentence, it's insane to have to like witness this and then walk among these people. I have a hard time being at grocery stores around Democrats and stuff because all I want to do is tell them how stupid they are. I hear them opening their mouth and it's like they're not ready to be called a kid fucker by someone that looks like me. They'll fold right there. They'll call the police. Like, they will have a problem. And especially the grocery store I go to because they're all Trump supporters. So I walk in and they're like, hey, is there a rally today? And I'm like, yeah, 7 o'clock, blah, blah. Like, every time I go in there, because you guys know I leave the live, I go right to get food because everything here closes at 8. And so we get in there and you could tell who's voting for who because me and the employees, we speak loudly. It's a mom and pop grocery store. There isn't anybody to get mad. But you can see the customers all lurking in the aisle because they're a bunch of Harris supporters and they don't even know why. They don't even know why. You see dudes walking down the aisle, they're like, Trump wants an abortion ban. Oh yeah, did Harris tell you that? Because Trump never said it, so I know Trump didn't tell you that. They've been told what to do and they're following orders. It reminds me of Antifa. They do exactly what the government says. They try to enforce the mandates that the government had at the time, and they're trying to come after you if you don't comply with the government, but then they title themselves anti-fascists. It's just the Democrat way. It's just the Democrat way. You know, be pro-system while claiming to be against the system. It's just the way they are right now. It's because they're commies. They're not real Democrats. They're communists. That's what it is. Lie about hating the system while growing the system. That's how they do it. Anyways, reading through. Next up we have You're going to have hell to pay. Tuberville warns the risk of failing to have fair elections. Now, I don't know if they're actually going to do anything about it. I highly doubt they will, but they're at least coming to acknowledge that we all feel the same way. We need transparency and we need a bunch of stuff for the election because it ain't fair. Zero, we won't do it because we have sense. Yep. Thank God the left can't aim. Thank God the right don't riot. I'm surprised that song's not playing all over the place right now. I think people, I don't know. I feel like people don't fanboy over Tom MacDonald like they used to back in 2020. Because I would have thought all week we'd have been hearing Tom MacDonald, and I haven't even heard one video with it. Salvador, I'm anti. Me too. What's up, Breeze by you? Happy freedom. Bobby, they're desperate and afraid. Yep. I mean, they kind of maintain that lifestyle, but yeah. Bobby, I sucked my way to success. You quoting Hyena Harris over there? Little Irish, they're fake people. They are fake people. Political correctness has warped their mind. They're a bunch of actors. Freedom, liberty, it's a fight for our country. It is. Pumpkin, Elon will never be their favorite. Well, it's really interesting because all of Elon's money comes from the government. His profit comes from government grants, from green energy and stuff like that, because his Tesla factories produce energy. They don't cost energy, they produce it. And so he gets tax exemptions and all kinds of stuff. He gets government money. So as much as the government acts like they hate him, if they really hated him, they'd cut his money off, and they don't. And so that's why I feel like it's kind of a game, and I hold Elon at arm's distance because of that. Happy freedom, Little Irish. Appreciate you being here with us. What's up, He-Do? Happy freedom to you. Giggling Spice says the man who upspeaks. Mm-hmm. Alistair, come on, man. Been listening to Tom for weeks. Yeah. Well, I figured some of you hooligans were, but I assumed it would be all over the internet. It's interesting to see a lot of people realize he's a Canadian. That's the other weird thing. Tom MacDonald's been out for a long time, and I think his older music's better than his newer music. Like he has a song called This House. I used to listen to that when I was at work all the time, and it's all hardcore. Now everything he does is just political. It used to be hardcore lyrics, and every once in a while he would talk about being white and how everybody hates him because he's white. But now everything he puts out is political, and I've told you guys before, I think he's a great rapper, but I don't want to listen to work when I'm not at work, and so that's it. But a lot of people are getting bent out of shape because they're realizing he's a Canadian, and that we only have a Canadian making the best political rap music here in America, and that doesn't rub certain people the right way. I mean, you'll never see Eminem come out with a political song that actually makes sense. He put out a diss track on Trump 2022 or something like that. No, Eminem's gay and soft now. He used to be the man when he was young. He was anti-establishment and all that. Now he's just sucking that Biden wiener. What's up, League Guitarman? Happy freedom. The social climate is changing. Good people are now wondering if they're going to have to do what they don't want us to. That's why people are staying away from things that remind them of that. Could be, League Guitarman. We got like 50 more days until it's time to go vote, and we got to go out there and do it. U-Town, Eminem went to the island. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Karaticus, they need his technology. That could be. They need Starlink to be on board and all of that stuff. That definitely could be. Alright, hooligans, we're going to move forward to this next one here. Yes, these individuals, I think they're on Capitol Hill. That's what it looks like. They're going to talk about fair elections and, well, how we just don't have them. Don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble, and let's get this started. Once again, this is titled, You're Gonna Have Hell to Pay. Tuberville warns of risks of failing to have fair elections.
Thank you. This is, I'm new here. I'm amazed. Our job is to protect the Constitution and give the citizens of this country a fair election and spend their money properly. I'm appalled of what we do up here. absolutely appalled. It's you can go down to the library, and in this city you can't find a Webster dictionary that defines common sense. It's not here. Not here. Anywhere you can find it. And American people should be sick at their stomach to what's going on. You just heard my colleagues talk about this, and I want to thank Senator Lee for authoring this bill, along with Congressman Chip Roy over in the House, carrying the water for it over there. This is a no-brainer. Absolutely no-brainer. We all know and have understood the last 3.5 years why the Democrats have had open borders. Cost us tens of millions of dollars monthly when we couldn't come up with $5 billion for a border wall when President Trump was in office. Too much money. It's all a scam, like this whole place up there. It's a scam. The Democrats have taken advantage of every opportunity they could get. It's really scary, to be honest with you. Now, I went to 10 or 15 states in August, helping other senators get elected and raising money. And they'd come up to me and go, Coach, they wouldn't ask about the economy or the border or foreign wars or crime on the streets. It was almost unanimous. Are we going to have fair elections? And I could not look them in the face and say, yes, we are. Because if we continue down this path, it's going to be the same old thing. And the American people deserve better than this. People that pay our bills and our salaries up here deserve better than this. The Democrats know better than this, but they want power so bad that they're going to try to tear down our election system. And I'm going to tell you this. My first day was January the 6th in 2021. And what's going to happen if we do not show the American people that the elections are going to be fair and they're going to be satisfied with the outcome, no matter whether Republicans win or Democrats win, you are going to have hell to pay in this country. It's coming. And I'm not so sure that's not what the Democrats want. It's an embarrassing situation. For me, as a taxpaying American citizen, for the last 35, 40 years, it's embarrassing to know that we have less control over our election system than we have on anything else. And that's all American taxpayers and the citizens want in this country. They want to know that their vote counts and that whatever happens in November, that they feel good about it, whatever happens. But you know what? That's not going to be what's going to happen. You're going to have problems, and it's because the Democrats will not bring this bill to the floor, pass it, and tell the American people, we're with you, we're going to have fair elections no matter what happens, and we're going to be able to put our head on the pillow at night and know that nothing's going to happen the next day or the next week, and we're going to go and make this country better. Democrats
Make America great again is what he meant.
Chuck Schumer ought to be ashamed. The Senate needs to get a backbone, bring this to the floor, and let's pass it, and let's get a budget, and let's get a bill passed to make elections fair.
All right. Well, he's talking about the SAVE Act that they're trying to pass, or it's not going to pass, or something's going on with it. But the SAVE Act is supposed to make it so illegals can't vote in our elections, which is something we really shouldn't have to pass. That should be a no-brainer. It's stupid, the laws that we're passing right now. And a lot of this stuff is used to cover up bad stuff that gets passed in the background, kind of like how they do bills. Well, I mean, look at the border bill. They're trying to pass the border bill. Democrats say President Trump is the reason the border's open because he told Republicans not to vote for the border bill. What they don't say is the border bill had a large package of money for the Ukraine, and they didn't want to send the money to the Ukraine. Plus, they weren't going to close the border. They were going to minimize entry. It was going to be like 1,200 people a day or something were going to be allowed in, or I don't remember what it was. But they were still going to let people in. They were just going to make it a slow trickle, and they were going to send a ton of money to the Ukraine. President Trump was like, no, don't vote on that. It's bullshit. So Republicans didn't vote on it. You don't hear why, though. You hear it's Trump's fault. The border's open, and that's all you hear. And that's how they do these things. And so it should be a no-brainer. Pass the SAVE Act. Make it so illegals can't vote. We shouldn't even have to do that. But since we're here and people are cutting their dicks off, I guess let's pass it. And now they're having trouble doing that. It's like, how loud do they have to scream that this is communism? For some reason, if you're being attacked and someone's sitting on top of you, stabbing you in the chest while smiling, no one knows what to do. Can't tell if this is a real takeover or not. They're smiling while they're doing it. What are we going to do? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Everybody just gets confused. It's obvious. It's communism. This is wrong. They're breaking laws left and right. They're letting illegals in. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's treason on it's treason squared. That's what's going on. It's treason squared. There's just treason on treason on treason with some more treason sprinkled on top. Bring in the truckload of treason, deliver it there in D.C. because that's where it's going down. I mean, it's just, that's what's happening. So, you know, that's great and all. They come out and tell us to our face that the elections aren't fair. We already know that. We already know that. Do something about it. Do something about it. Do away with the damn machines. That'd be a good start. Anyways, next up we have exploding pagers injure hundreds in Lebanon, somewhere overseas. You guys wanted it, so I added it on the schedule. I don't know exactly what it says because it's really hard to screen videos during a press briefing, but we got something on it because you guys wanted it. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about our fair elections. Breeze by you, fuck communism. I'm saying, all day. Breeze by you, they pass stuff without even reading it a lot of times. Yeah. We'll see, and we need laws on that. You should only be able to pass a bill if it only has, you know, no more than 3 things in it. And the subjects need to be listed on the front page, you know, because they come out with these packets, or 9,000 pages. Nobody's going to read 9,000 pages of bullshit, especially when it's all wrote in legal terms, which is nearly impossible to understand unless you have some crazy education. They need to do something about that. We need term limits. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that we need. The government is so corrupt. Zero, bills and laws should be 1 page long, 1 subject, and plain English. Yeah, Zero. They shouldn't be the way they are. They shouldn't be packets. Saldaregu, asteroid flood 2024. We're not going to get that lucky. They're going to wait till everything goes great. Then the Earth will get smacked by an asteroid. God has an interesting sense of humor like that. You know, he is very entertained by that kind of stuff. So that's how it would go. Everything would go great, and then everything would fall to pieces. Breeze by you, I'd like to know if we've ever had fair elections. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think that anybody who's still running and has been since the 90s should be gone. Because the corruption that they were doing in the 90s before we had all the technology, they were able to like grandfather it in. Because as the technology showed up, they would change their path of corruption to avoid the new security or surveillance or whatever by technology. They've been around long enough to implement the technology around their corruption so it's not being detected. Cut those fuckers out. Well, you'll have people that'll have to create new ways of corruption, and they'll have to avoid all the technology and stuff. Anybody that's been in office since the 90s, they need to be out. Anything before like modern technology, they need to be thrown out because they are most likely tied to some form of corruption. Zero, wow, he just called the government a scam. Yeah, he's going to end up swinging from a doorknob like McAfee. Like McAfee. What's up, will not comply? Happy freedom. Ghostly laws should all expire and have to be voted on every few years. That's an interesting idea. I've never even thought about that. Alistair, they don't need a bill to close the border. Biden signed an EO to open the border. He can make a phone call. We're filled up. Close the border. Yeah, Alistair. The only reason they don't close the border is because he ain't made the call. We got border patrol and everything. We don't have to create a new team of people to enforce the border. We already got that. All he's got to do is tell them to stop standing down, you know. Amarain, it's funny, my son's ex-girlfriend told me one time that she didn't want to vote because she felt it didn't count after what happened in 2020. It made me sad. Yeah, Amarain, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that they don't want to vote because it didn't matter because of the machines. But the machines are a problem. The accuracy and the transparency is a problem. But following the Democrat agenda is not going to win the race. letting them dishearten you where you don't go cast a vote in a country, one of the few, if not the only country that allows you to do that, you're playing the game. You're following the agenda. Like I say about crime. Crime is bad everywhere. And the criminals, they never get punished. You know why? It's because they want you to participate. That's why. They want you to say, to look in the mirror and go, why am I working so hard to be a good person when I could be lying, cheating, robbing, stealing out there and killing people like everybody else is and not get held accountable? Maybe I'd be ahead more if I broke some laws and stuff. You start questioning these things. They want you to. They want you to devolve into animals and behave like all the criminals and shit. Because once everybody does, they can come control us. Because we loudly said we can't control ourselves. That's why they do it. It's all a game. It's all a game. They rig the votes and all that shit, so you'll question whether or not it matters to vote. Yes, you need to vote. You have to vote. Everybody's got to go vote. Anybody who's a legal citizen in America needs to go vote. You need to. Yes, the machines and bullshit's fucked. It's fucked. Nobody did anything about it. Of course they're going to try and steal it again. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go vote. Vote. It's your American obligation, you know? But the young people out here are stupid as shit, and the Fed boys get in the chat and they try to encourage everybody not to vote. And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Wayward 2020 made me want to vote more, and I hope I talked others into voting. Yeah, Wayward. That's how I feel too. I've never advocated for voting ever in my life until they decided to steal the election. Keith, the No Murdering Act will be next. No, we already got laws against murder. We already got that. They might ban the Bible next. God only knows. XBJ, happy freedom to you. Get them out. Yep. Exploding pagers and cell phones next. That's what everybody's speculating. Fry TV, I stopped voting after 9/11. It's all rigged. Yep. It's your American obligation to vote, though. You don't have to. You can just go ahead and allow the Democrats to win. But the thing is if you don't vote, don't bitch. That's how I go all day. So anybody who's saying they're not voting right now, okay, when I see you after the election, you don't get to complain. I will dog you. Bad. I'll dog you real bad. You'll never come back. You'll never come back. I'm just saying, you go vote or you don't bitch about the way things are going around here. Like I said before, because people have a hard time understanding this. If we're riding in the car, right, and I yell in the back seat, hey, what do y'all want to eat? And you don't say shit, we're eating what I want to eat. And you don't get to say shit about it. That's how voting works. You don't want to try and participate in who's going to run the country? You don't get to say shit when the country's ran like shit. And that has nothing to do with the election being stolen or any of that shit. You didn't care enough to go vote. You don't get to have a say in it, good or bad. And that's it. That's what you sign up for. It ain't my fault. That's not my fault that you guys don't want to go vote. See you after the election. Let me see. Where are we at here? Oh, yes, the exploding pagers and cell phones. Now, I don't believe there's going to be a whole hell of a lot of information in this video, considering it's only 34 seconds long. But all the rest of the videos are like 15 minutes long, and I don't want to listen to 15 minutes about what's happening in a foreign country. So anyways, this is titled Exploding Pagers Injures Hundreds in Lebanon.
News right now, some 150 people have been wounded in Beirut suburbs and other parts of Lebanon after their handheld pagers reportedly exploded today. Many suffered wounds to their hands or near their pants pockets. Lebanese state media and security officials says it was not immediately clear if people were killed. A senior military intelligence official and an official with the Lebanese group with knowledge of the situation said that pagers carried by Hezbollah members were detonated. A second official said it was believed to be an Israeli attack. Israel's military declined to comment.
Okay. So that's the exploding pager stuff. I don't know much more about it. However, there's a ton of information in Discord. Who Through has been working on it all day. I should probably create a tab over there so he can dump all of the information in a specific area so everyone can go deep dive it. But if you join Discord, you can do that by using the link tree. If you go over there, you'll see all the information about the exploding pagers and stuff like that. I don't know what's going on. Some people are scared the government's going to blow up your iPhone in your pocket and all this stuff. I don't necessarily know if that's what's going on. I don't know enough about the situation itself. I don't know who Hezbollah is. I don't know who any of that stuff is because I only pay attention to America. But I don't necessarily think that they have the power to make our cell phones explode. Like I said, I don't know who Hezbollah is, but what if they rigged those pagers? What if they made them like that? You know, those foreign countries, they got suicide bombers and all kinds of stuff. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like people are just taking this so they can have a moment to say, what if the government did it to us? What would you do if you hit the lottery? That's what it feels like. It just feels like that. I kind of feel like if the government had the ability to blow our phones up and stuff, they would have already. Look how J6 went. And look how they're talking about President Trump right now. They'd blow your phone up and say you deserve it because of your free speech. You know? So I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying one's right or wrong or anything. I don't know enough about it. I'm clearly telling you that. So if you'd like to know more about it, definitely go join Discord. We have all the information over there. Who threw in them? They care about that stuff. So they're covering it over there in the Discord. So definitely go join up so you can learn about it. Anyways, next up we have Hillary Clinton calls Trump dangerous 24 hours after second assassination attempt. We have two videos with Hillary Clinton. These are short videos, so we're going to run them back to back. The first one is her obviously calling President Trump dangerous, but then the second video is titled Hillary Clinton pushes criminal charges for Americans who spread Russian disinformation. So as long as your disinformation is not Russian, I think you're okay. Otherwise, Hillary Clinton thinks you should go to prison for your free speech. First, we're going to read through the chat, and before we do that, I want to remind you guys, if you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you're on Android and you're using the Rumble app, you're unable to see that big red subscribe button. So you got to go to rumble.com, come to the live, hop in the chat, and like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble hooligan. You'll have access to our custom emojis. We have chapstick emojis, screaming goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live, so definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. We're going to read through the chat really quick, and we'll get on to how Hillary Clinton is a bad person. Breeze by you, Hillary is a traitor. Yep, she is. She's the worst of the worst. Snooks, Hezbollah terrorists that back Palestine. See, I didn't know if they were terrorists or if that was what the name of the town was. I really don't know anything about those people that spend every day killing each other. I don't know. It's like looking into how many genders the Democrats have come up with today. I'm just not interested. They're doing bad shit that I don't want to know about, so I don't pay attention to it. Zero, I used to calibrate small boxes that were sending signals to explosives. They could have been built with explosives in them. It is possible to detonate remotely. Well, that's what I was thinking too, Zero. If they staged all those beepers, whatever they're called, pagers, if they, they built them up to be a certain way, they just make the call, goes off. And now, like I said, the conspiracy theorists here in America, they're like, oh no, they're going to blow up our iPhones. And it's like, I don't think that's what's going on, but who knows? I can't say for sure. Hair juicer, wounds to the pant pockets. My jeans were wounded. This is serious. No, I think that's how Biden's getting us. This Biden-Harris administration, they're hurting our pockets. Yep, it's a terrorist attack on our pockets. They're doing what's happening in Lebanon. They're just doing it, metaphorically. RK, that's insane. Yeah, I've never seen pagers exploding and stuff like that. Breeze by you, lobbying should be outlawed as well. I totally agree on that. Absolutely. What's up, Amelia? Happy freedom. You're the only Amelia I know. Happy to have you. Pumpkin, I didn't know people still use pagers. Foreign countries are like the 90s compared to us. Mary Todd, making sure they don't procreate. Are you saying we need to get the Democrats pagers? That wasn't violent rhetoric. I was just kidding. Don't stick KJP on me. She'll shit her man pawn out. Mary Todd, they bought them from Temu. Temu did it. Why do you guys make your name so hard I can't even read it? I want to say hello, but if I can't say your name without causing my furniture to float around the house because of witchcraft, then it makes it difficult to say hello to you. Flea speech simultaneously blown up. Yeah. How did they call all those pagers at once? Or did they all get programmed at the same number? Pumpkin, Hezbollah, or terrorist of Iran? Thank you for letting me know, Pumpkin. Bobby, you can make batteries overheat? Yeah. I know the batteries catch on fire and stuff. We cover it with the cars all the time. We cover it with the scooters, right? The electric scooters. They're always burning down apartment buildings and shit in Chicago or in New York. We cover that all the time. So, I mean, I understand, you know, batteries can explode and whatever, but I just don't think the government can make a phone call and blow your iPhone up. I just don't think that's how it works. I could be wrong. I'm just getting my thoughts out here. Will not comply. Thanks, Jeff, for always keeping us up to date. One day you will have enough views and subscribers than Benny Johnson, if not more. I appreciate it, will not comply. I actually just started following Benny Johnson. I think he does pretty good. I haven't seen all of his stuff, but I see some similarities. I appreciate you, will not comply. Pumpkin, well, Christmas is coming, and Dems would like some pagers. Mm-hmm. They love them. That's some gender reassignment care if I've ever seen it. You just hold real still. Let me dial this number really quick. Get you taken care of. They'd be all too grateful for those pagers. The problem is they'd be strapping them onto kids because Democrats are fucked up. Marquise, leave a message after the beep. I don't think that's how pagers work. Lee Guitarman, you say you don't know anything about Hezbollah. Reminder, they are now in this country thanks to Biden Harris. Yeah, Lee Guitarman. No, I don't know anything about Middle Eastern people other than they just kill themselves all the time. They're killing each other, and they're like Democrats, but worse. They're like honest Democrats. That's what it is. They're just honest Democrats. Fry TV, I repair cell phones, and no, they cannot blow up your cell phone. Yeah, Fry TV, that's what I was thinking. It was just... it's probably not a thing, because I feel like they would have did it already, but I don't know. Anything's possible. DD, is that an honest Democrat? Is that possible? Only in the Middle East. Fry TV, you are on a list now. Oh, I know I'm on a list. The DOJ documents have my face in some of their shit because we covered J6, so they're using my footage, my face, my channel as evidence to prosecute J6ers. I don't know how many have been prosecuted with my face attached to the evidence, but we know of at least one. And so ever since then, I've known that I'm on a list, and that's why I tell you guys, there's feds in the chat. I know because they watch the live and they take screenshots of my face. And it's not good, but you know, that's part of the song and dance here. Hair Juicer, a suicide bomber in Moscow, blew herself up when the cell phone detonator got a Happy New Year mass text from a cell provider. Interesting, Hair Juicer. That stuff is crazy. When was the last time a Democrat set themselves on fire to protest? You guys notice that just kind of died down? I don't talk about that anymore. The Guitar Man, another note, there are likely many of them less than 2 hours away from you. No, Dearborn is like 4 or 5 hours away from me. Chances are that's where they'll be, is in Dearborn. It's the highest concentration of Muslim people in America. They were waving ISIS flags and stuff. I don't even remember when, 2015 or something like that. Judo, glowies are gay. You're gonna make them mad. You're gonna make them mad. They're gonna be taking screenshots of your chat, knocking on your door. What do you mean when you're saying those funny jokes on the internet? Come on, man. Alright, let's go ahead and get into Killary. We got 2 videos here of Killary. They're short. They're not even a minute long. Oh, we're going to run them back to back, and then, of course, we will be hopping in the chat. This first one is titled, Hillary Clinton Calls Trump Dangerous, 24 hours after second assassination attempt.
And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The late, great journalist Harry Evans, one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump. His demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it. And I don't understand.
Okay, that's the first video of Hillary Clinton, 24 hours after President Trump was in an attempt on his life. She's over here saying, oh, he's dangerous, because the Democrats call that lowering the temperature. She stated a little bit more in her little interview that she was doing here. This is less about Trump and more about people like me. Let's go ahead and get this rolling. This is titled Hillary pushes criminal charge. Wait a minute. Hillary Clinton pushes criminal charges for Americans who spread Russian disinformation.
Just as Mueller indicted a lot of Russians who were engaged in direct election interference and boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence, because just as Mueller.
So she wants to arrest people for free speech. Like I said, they just say their stupid shit out loud. They're so far gone, they've lost the plot. And they forgot not to say the quiet parts out loud, like KJP earlier. President Trump needs to quit the violent rhetoric. By the way, President Trump took away women's rights. Literally, she said it just like that, just back to back. Hillary Clinton's doing, doing the same. Out there just being a liar and a tyrant. To go out there and say, yeah, we should arrest Americans for free speech. What? What crazy? And where's the accountability? How come nobody with any leverage does anything? This is why I could never be on Capitol Hill. I'd be sitting there scrolling through my phone like, hold up, what'd she say? All right, put on an indictment for so-and-so. She's out here going after Americans for free speech. That's what should be happening in the government. They should be going after people that are really a threat to our country and our freedoms. But they're not, because they're the fucking threat. I don't want them to be, but they are. It ain't my fault that they behave that way. We got to vote them out. We need term limits. We need all kinds of stuff. But we got to get rid of those people because they're monsters. They are monsters. Nobody's even voting for Hillary Clinton. Why is she still around? Why is she even relevant? Another person that looks like a ball sack with teeth. We don't need more of those people. I'm just telling you. Anyways, we got the last little bit of our news coming up next. It's titled Sean Diddy the Diddler Combs Indictment. Federal prosecutors unseal criminal charges. So they finally arrested the diddler because they want everyone to stop talking about President Trump's assassination attempt, because everyone's saying the Democrats did it and they don't want to hear that. So they decided to go arrest, the diddler, so people will forget what happened to President Trump and move forward. They're already blaming him. It's your fault you're being shot at, said the victimhood Democrats. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat and we'll get on to that last video for the diddler. And then we got funny videos coming up next, of course. Jay Spray, she just likes to talk about herself. Yeah, because she's irrelevant. Nobody's talking about her. And they have no problem with her talking about stolen elections and stuff like that. Breeze by you, Killary spread Russian disinfo. Yeah, I can't say that out loud. Breeze by you, but yep. Zero, I bet they still have Blackberries over there. Oh, yeah. I bet they do, too. They probably got the Razor flip phones. You guys remember that? That was like a big deal when those Razors came out. Wayward, why do I got that song stuck in my head and you're singing the lyrics in my chat? Why? Why are we on the same wavelength? I have questions now. Says, can't nobody take my pride, can't nobody hold me down. Oh no. Alistair, got my shirts and beanie. All effing badass, so comfortable, just perfect. Awesome, Alistair. That's awesome. I'm gonna make a Hooligan selfie page on the website as well as Discord, and that way you guys can take selfies with your merch so everyone can see how cool the merch is. I appreciate you, Alistair. I'm glad you finally got it. And merch does take a little bit of time to come in the mail. That's not my fault. I have no control over that. But it usually arrives. Their customer service is really good also. I have ordered a shirt from my merch store because I got to pay for it too, and actually received the wrong shirt. And they were really cool about it. They didn't make me send it back or nothing. They had me send them a picture of what I received, and they were like, yeah, that's not what you were supposed to get. And I was like, okay, well, that's what I got. They were like, give it to someone who will actually wear the item, and we'll send you the correct order. And then they did, and like a week later I got it, and it was great. It was great. So if you haven't gone and checked out the merch store, definitely go check out the merch store. You can find it on the Linktree list in the description. Elisa, we got to keep on moving. Yep. Mary Todd, I have all my old phones. I don't have all of my old phones, but I have 3 or 4 of them. I got like old Boost Mobile brick phones and all kinds of stuff. Flea Speech, oh, I thought that was the funny video. Oh, no. They're coming up. Pumpkin, if I had money, I'd sue Hillary for defamation. Yeah, if I had money, I'd be suing all kinds of people. Black White Bull, where'd the feel good sign go? It's right here. For some reason, I don't know why. When I set it up the first time, it was perfect. I shouldn't have messed with it. Because now it's showing the reflection of the ring lights in front of me. That's why it's got those white circles on it. I need to either put something on it so it's not reflective or do something. But when I'm sitting here, all I can see is the rings reflect on the sign. So I have it taken down right now. But I'll get it put back up. Screaming Eagle, sue them cocksuckers. I would if I could. If I could afford to sue the government for sticking my face in DOJ documents and going after J6ers using my content to try and persecute them or prosecute them, I would. I would go after them in a heartbeat. I would probably never have to work again if I won that. But I don't have the money to sue them. And they'd probably just shoot me in the head. And then blame my own rhetoric for the cause. That's what they would do. Hillary would show up in the middle of the night and shoot me in the face 16 times and go, yeah, he shouldn't have said that. And then just make her way back to Capitol Hill. Riding Joe Biden with Hein Harris, cackling all along the way. To Marquise, it was a solar flare. That's what happened. The solar flare's got the pagers. What's up, cough syrup? Happy freedom. DD, doesn't it say somewhere in the Constitution that we the people have the right to take the president out of office if the president isn't doing right by the people? We need something. We need some sort of formal way to remove elected officials when they are not doing their job, other than just waiting for the next election cycle. We need to be able to gather enough signatures, turn the paper in, and then have a special election. We need something, but we don't have it. So the only way to fight it is to kinetically fight it, and nobody wants to do that. It might be double D, but I don't know what that means as far as pursuing it. Right, there has to be legal forms and stuff. You can't just show up on the front. You see, it didn't work in J6. You can't just show up on the front lawn. It doesn't work. We got to be able to file forms. But as far as I know, either we don't have access to the forms don't exist, or we can't afford attorneys that will access those forms. And they do all this on purpose. They all know what's going on. They're the ones that make the laws. So, I don't know. I just know everything's corrupt and we should have a say in it. Happy Freedom 2 Real. Appreciate you being here. All right, we're going to play our last news video of the day. We have 2 funny videos coming up afterwards. This is The Diddler. Once again, this is titled Sean Diddy, The Diddler Combs Indictment. Federal prosecutors unseal criminal charges. Let's go ahead and get this rolling.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant.
Okay, so the Diddler is a supervillain. That's what they're basically saying. He is a supervillain. But are they going to do anything about it? Probably not. Probably not. I think they're going to do away with him. I think he might, go down for this and then be dead in a week. Mysteriously camera shut off in his prison cell and such. But I think that everybody connected to him is going to be okay. And a lot of people are kind of celebrating early about Diddy's downfall because they think he's going to pull down a bunch of people with him. Look at Maxwell and how Epstein and all that went. Who went down with him? No one. No one did. And this is just another instance of that. That's all. This is just Epstein 2.0. And there's probably tons of places and people just like this. They say that what he was doing was very similar to the Epstein stuff. That he had people come over at the house, do illegal things, being under surveillance, not knowing it, and then later on he can hit them up and say, hey, I got this leverage over you. I'm going to need you to do me some favors or else. And they use these strategies, these blackmail strategies and extortion and stuff, to control important and powerful people. Epstein did the same thing. Diddy's doing the same thing. That's how it goes. And there's probably more places just like this. I just don't think anybody's going to go down with him. I think he's connected to a lot of people, but like I said in the beginning of the live, I think that they took so long between the raid that happened in his house and him being arrested yesterday or the day before. I think they took that time to make sure any evidence from anyone else's wrongdoing, that evidence was destroyed. That's what I think they did. They went and cleaned house. Now they're arresting him. And everybody's like, oh, yay, him and all his compadres are going to prison. I don't think so. He might go to prison. He might end up in a hole in the ground. I don't think any of his buddies are going down with him. I don't think we're going to see Jay-Z and Beyonce or Birdman or any of those other people who are constantly recruiting 16-year-olds and people like that, promise them, fame and fortune and whatever. The music industry is really bad about human trafficking. They convince you, it's just like Hollywood. Oh, you're going to be a child star. I'm going to need your parents to emancipate you so we can have full control over your career. And the parents are like, oh, I don't know. And they hand them $1 million check. And the parents are like, yep, where you want me to sign? And they just sell their kids to Hollywood and the music industry and all that stuff. And then people wondering why they're getting trafficked. What do you mean? They're not just getting trafficked. They're told to go sing and dance on stage while being trafficked. And we sit here and cheer it on. Like, we cheered on. Look at Billie Eilish. They're all like that. They're all like that. And it's terrible. It's terrible what's going on. So do I think that they're going to pull down the whole ring of terror? No. I don't think so, because that path leads back to the damn government. So, like, no, they're not going to just let it all, the house of cards fall. They're just plucking Diddy right off the edge there. They're cutting off their loose ends. That's what they're doing right now. It's just interesting, the timing. President Trump was shot at. The very next day, they blame President Trump for everything and deny. And then the next day after that, Diddy's all in the news, and that's it. You hear anything about Trump's assassination? Well, he deserved it. That's what they say. His words made him deserve it. Anyways, Diddy's back. Okay, they're pulling the old sleight of hand with us. Anyways, reading through the chat really quick. Our funny videos of the day. The first one is titled, Fuck Antifa. And the second video is titled, He Died for Our Sins. They're coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat. Zero, Justin Bieber. Yeah. Macaulay Culkin. Look at Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin has done interviews where he tells the horror stories. He did some interview where he was saying that the guy he was talking to was some manager or agent or some shit and was trying to get him alone in a room, and eventually did. And while they were alone in the room, the agent was telling him that his shoes were made of human flesh, because human flesh is the rarest, most expensive leather there is. And that he was insisting that his shoes were not only made of human flesh, but some child star that wasn't relevant anymore. And Macaulay Culkin talks about how he's never been so afraid in his life than when that moment happened. There's tons of stuff like that. There's so much information like that. But, instead of people acknowledging that, they pay $60, they go to a concert, and they cheer on their favorite traffic child star. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And even they don't know it. They got Stockholm Syndrome. They don't know anything. They were a child when they were sold to the industry. It's a evil world out here. Salty Ragu, there's a rotary phone app. It's funny and it works. I've never even thought about that. I will definitely have to look that up. Salty Ragu, I love Hillary. Well, she might have just taken you off the hit list. You never know. RK, didn't a house fall on Hillary back in 1939? Pretty sure. They can't keep the wicked old witch down, though. Hair Juicer, the Corey story about Charlie Sheen is awful. See, and I don't even know what that is. What's up, Eric O? Happy Freedom. Screaming Eagle, Corey Fieldman. See, I don't even know who that is. Amarina says, gross. I thought you said you're gross. I didn't even do anything. I didn't do anything. I'm just saying. Ghostly, ever seen Justin Bieber with Diddy? Probably. I can't really remember. I remember Justin Bieber was hanging out with Usher for a really long time because Usher was trying to recruit him or something. And Diddy and Usher and Kevin Hart all hang out together, or they did. And it's not good. That's all I know. It's not good. Puffin Stuff said that they were made from the girl in Poltergeist. Yeah. Eric O, his personal chef still float? They all float down here. Free Thinking Texan, happy freedom to you. This man is fucked. Oh yeah, he's the punchline of the story. They're gonna nail him, but I just don't think anybody else is going down with him. Pumpkin, they are sick monsters. I agree. Ghostly, Diddy took over for Jeffrey? I don't think so. I think they're separate, like a McDonald's. Every time you go to, there's a McDonald's. They're not competing with each other. They're in connection with each other. And that's what I think it is. I think it's a franchise. It's the Epstein franchise. Screaming Eagle, Rico, he's done. Yeah, if they get him with Rico, he's done. I mean, I think they're going to smoke him anyways. I don't even think he'll see sentencing. Dabs. Diddy is a Burger King. It's not good. That's all I'm trying to say is it's not good. Oh, I know I'm a rain. It's my dyslexia kicking my ass. That's what was going on. Darth. Hillary's extra cunty. My buddy WMM, he says that all the time. Well, not all the time. He uses it for special occasions, but it lands. DeMarquise, they're going to throw the book at Diddy. Yeah. They're going to make him the example. Guess who? Diddy will be dropping the soap on day one. Going... I'm not going to read that out loud, but yeah. Guess who? Yep. He's going to be like, how many times I tell you that we don't stop? Doing his little dances and stuff. Oh, what's going on here? Nah. Alright, hooligans. We're going to move on to our funny videos of the day. But before we do, I want to give you guys the last reminder I got here. If you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use the Linktree link in order to make donations. You can find that Linktree link in the description. Click on the link and you will see the ability to use PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto if you would like to support the live. We're going to get into this first video here. It's titled Fuck Antifa. First of two funny videos of the day. Alright, hooligans, let's get it.
And we lit up your world. And we lit.
Goodness. So if you couldn't tell, that was Antifa carrying a picture of President Trump looking like Hitler at a Trump rally. Didn't go in his favor, though. That didn't go the way he thought it was going to go. This is our last video of the day, and it's our official funny video of the day. And this is a good one. You've probably seen it, but that's okay, because it's a good one. It's titled, He Died for Our Sins.
Learn about in school.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr. What'd he do?
He died for our sins.
No, that was...
He died for our sins. I can't even talk. My goodness. That is so funny. Well, hooligans, that is all the coffee I had for you guys today. I'm going to drop this Linktree link to all of you guys. Doo-doo-doo. We will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance and wrapping things up, but we'll be live again later today, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, covering President Trump. He's going to be in Flint, Michigan with Sarah Huckabee Saunders, I think that's how you say her name, doing a town hall. And it should be good, so definitely be here 7 p.m. Eastern Time to watch the town hall with us. There we go. There's the Linktree link where all of my links are listed, so if you would like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, I would really appreciate it. All of your guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday, because we got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7. And we have a news board to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, you can watch the live, and it is the best way to experience a live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs and custom emojis and links and all kinds of stuff right there in the chat while you are watching the live. We also have Hooligans Alley, which is our built-in social media area on the website. It's kind of like Facebook or Twitter. There's no fact checkers, there's no crying liberals, there's no crazy community guidelines or anything like that. We also have forums to encourage open discussion. We have an arcade that's got like 8 or 10 games in it right now. And we have an advanced messaging system that gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling, and more. There's tons of stuff to do over on the website. So definitely go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. It's the home of the hooligans. We're going to read through really quick just to see what you hooligans think about today's coffee. We will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance and wrapping things up. But like I said, we'll be live again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, for President Trump doing a town hall here in Michigan. If I don't see you tonight, I'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Hey, I appreciate you being here, hair juicer. Sounds good, Breeze by you. Matt, the scary part is that's probably what they're telling the little kids. Yeah, Matt, I had trouble titling that because I wasn't sure which kind of way I wanted to go with it. Hey, thank you for being here, Black White Bull. Thank you, Screaming Eagle. Thank you, Flea Speech. Done will attempt to be here. Appreciate it. I know, Wayward. I've seen that video a couple times, but it's always good. Pumpkin, who told her that? Nah, I think she just got confused. She didn't even say Martin Luther King. She said, I don't even know what she said, Martha Luther King or something. Hey, thanks for being here, Spicy Peach. Appreciate you, Double D. All right, hooligans. This is that time once again. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, did the thing. We are good to go. Let's get these beats rolling. We're going to read through the chat one last time just to make sure you hooligans are good to go. But like I said a million times now, we will be live again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, covering President Trump, Flint, Michigan, with Sarah Saunders doing a town hall. So hopefully I see you guys here tonight. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, for Coffee with Hooligans. RK Snooks is hot. Yup. Thank you, Breeze by you. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Matthew. Josh, dropping the penis in the chat. It's a little rough. It's a little rough. Eddie Walker, I appreciate you. Yes, hit that like button over on Rumble. You should be able to hit 100 likes every day. I don't know what's going on. DeMarquise, the Trump rallies love serving anti-soy punches. That's right, DeMarquise. Gotta make those punches in the face great again. Thanks, Fry TV. Appreciate you being here. Judo, early voting in Pennsylvania. How early is it? Are you guys able to vote right now? Go vote for President Trump. Do it up. RK, my dad used to say Martha Luther King. I've never heard that other than that little kid saying it. All right, hooligans. Like I said, we'll be live again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, with President Trump, Sarah Huckabee Sanders doing a town hall in Flint, Michigan. And if I don't see you tonight, I will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. And I think we got President Trump tomorrow. I can't remember what time. More Trump tomorrow, though. So definitely look forward to that. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.